biryani made with just a few ingredients is loaded with flavor. Hi, and you're watching Plating It with Wendy, where I share with you recipes which impress with ease. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, share and comment. And if you enjoy trying out recipes that turn out right every time, you're at the right place. So go ahead, press that subscribe button. And while you're at it, if you hit the bell icon, you'll be the first to get notified every time I upload a new video. Now, let's get started. For this recipe, you need fried onions. So I've sliced up 4 onions, which are approximately 650 grams. And we're going to go over to the stove and fry them. In a pot, I put about 1.5 inches of oil. And since this is quite a lot of onions, we're going to fry them in about 3 to 4 batches. And now using a spoon, try and move it around. You'll find that the onions will start decreasing as soon as the water releases from the onions. And we're going to fry them till they turn a light golden, and then we're going to take it out. Always take it out as soon as it turns a light golden, because it's going to still brown after you take it out. Okay, the onions are looking a lovely golden color, so we're going to lift them up from the oil, let the excess oil drain out, and using a spoon just press down the onions so that all the excess oil drains down back into the pot. And I've lined a baking sheet with some kitchen paper towel, and we're going to lay it down on the paper. And we're just going to spread it out so that the paper gets a chance to absorb any excess oil from the onions. Now let's put in another batch of the onions. Now if you wanted to skip this step, you could always buy ready-made fried onions from the store. But I always prefer frying them at home because you know exactly what oil you're frying it in. And now let's fry up our last batch of onions. And while these are frying, we're going to parboil the potatoes because we love to add potatoes in our biryani. So we're going to go in with 3 potatoes, which is approximately 600 grams, and I've cut it into quarters. We're going to add some salt, and now we're going to parboil it on a medium heat. So as soon as the water comes to a bubble, we're going to take it off the heat, and then we're going to fry them. The water has come to a boil, which means that the potatoes are parboiled now. So let's drain off the water and keep the potatoes ready, so that as soon as our third batch of onions have fried, we can fry the potatoes in the same oil. We have parboiled the potatoes, so they're cooked on the outside, but they're raw on the inside. So now we're going to fry them in the oil till they get cooked. The potatoes have fried and they're cooked right through. So we're going to drain off the excess oil. And now we're going to place in a bowl with a kitchen paper towel at the bottom so that any excess oil gets absorbed by the paper towel. And now we're going to fry the remaining potatoes. Just going to move them around occasionally so that they don't stick to the bottom and they don't burn on one side. Okay, our second batch of potatoes are also ready. So let's drain off the excess oil and place them along with the rest. Now we're going to be cooking our chicken in a pressure cooker, and it gets ready before you can say 1, 2, 3. So to the cooker, we're going to add about 1/4 cup of oil, and we're going to use that same oil which we fried the onions and potatoes. And once the oil has heated up, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of ginger paste and 2 tablespoons of garlic paste. And now we're going to saute this till the ginger and the garlic lose their raw flavor. In fact, my sister taught me how to make this biryani that comes together so quick, and it's so tasty that you're sure to impress anyone when you make it. Now that the ginger and garlic have lost their raw flavor, let's toss in 4 medium-sized tomatoes which are finely sliced, and the weight is approximately 600 grams. And to that we're going to add 5.5 tablespoons of Chicken Biryani masala, and I'm using the Bombay Biryani masala. After all, I'm a Bombay girl. Now let's give that a stir. Now we're going to saute this till the tomatoes soften, the masala gets a chance to cook, and the oil begins to separate. The tomatoes have softened, and as you can see, the oil has started coming to the top. So now we're going to add in our chicken. And I'm going in with 1 kilo of chicken, and I've used a combination of chicken drums and thighs. If you wanted, you could use just drums, or you could use just thighs, or you could even use a whole chicken if you like. And to that we're going to add just a little bit of salt, maybe a teaspoon of salt, because the biryani masala that we added already contains salt. As I said earlier, I'd use a Chicken Biryani masala, but you can use any biryani masala that you like. And now to that we're going to add 1/3 of the fried onions. Now let's give that a mix. Don't add any water when preparing the chicken because you're going to have plenty of water coming out from the tomatoes, and the chicken stock is going to add to the gravy as well. I'm going to put the lid onto the cooker, place on the weight, and as soon as the cooker comes to pressure and we have one whistle, we're going to take it off the heat and allow the pressure to release before we open it. Wow, our chicken is looking absolutely delicious. Now to that we're going to add 1 handful of chopped coriander or cilantro and half a handful of finely chopped mint leaves. Now let's give this a mix. Wow, the aroma in my kitchen right now, it's amazing. The chicken turns out really tender and succulent. Now we're going to keep our chicken open for about 10 minutes so that the gravy gets a chance to thicken. Okay, now that our chicken is ready, let's quickly cook up our rice. I've got 5 cups of long grain basmati rice over here, and that's approximately about 1 kilogram. I washed it till the water ran clear, and then I soaked it in water for half an hour. Okay, let's go over to the stove and cook up the rice. To cook the rice, we're first going to bring a pot of water to a boil on high heat, and into that we're going to toss in 8 cloves and 8 cardamoms. We're also going to add in 3 bay leaves, 2 star anise, and 2 3-inch sticks of cinnamon. Now this is going to flavor the water, which is going to make our rice nice and aromatic. And we're going to wait till it comes to a boil. Now let's lower the heat to medium, and we're going to add in about 2 tablespoons of oil. I drained off all the water that the rice was soaking in, and now we're going to start adding in the rice. And you can add salt to taste. I'm going in with about 2 to 3 teaspoons of salt. And let's just give that a stir so that everything gets well mixed together. Now we don't want the rice to cook completely. We want it to have a little bite to it. So now we're going to close it up and allow it to cook for 7 minutes, and then we're going to check it. It's been 7 minutes and you can see that the rice still has a little bite to it. So now it's time we got to take it out, drain off the water, and now we're going to put it onto a tray. And I've lined the tray with parchment paper. Now while you're doing this, you can simultaneously take off the bay leaves or any of the spices that you see, because their job here is done. When layering our biryani, we're going to put some fresh herbs on it. And so we're going to take a bunch of coriander and chop it up. And this gives a lot of flavor to the biryani. Let's collect that all together and put it into a bowl. Also going to add a bunch of mint. Just going to pluck out the leaves first. And let's chop that up fine. Let's transfer that to a bowl. To layer our biryani, we're first going to pour just a little bit of ghee at the bottom. And this is going to prevent the rice from sticking. And at the same time, it's going to flavor the rice. So now we're going to go in and put 1 layer of rice at the bottom. When cooking biryani, I always like to cook a 1:1 ratio of rice to whatever meat I'm using. Since we cooked 1 kilogram of chicken, we cooked 1 kilogram of rice. And now we're going to add a layer of the chicken. Just going to place them around so that when you serve it, everybody gets a share of the chicken and the rice. And now let's layer on some of the gravy. And now we're going to sprinkle on some of the chopped mint leaves, some of the chopped coriander leaves, some of the fried onions that we had kept aside. At each stage, we're going on layering flavor after flavor. And now it's time to add another layer of the rice. This is an ideal dish to make because it feeds a crowd. And now we're going to repeat. And now we're going to put on the gravy. And now we're going to go in with the layer of the chopped mint leaves, the chopped cilantro. Okay guys, I'm sorry, but I forgot to put the potatoes in the bottom layer. But we're definitely going to put it in this layer. Let's top that with the fried onions. And now let's top it with another layer of the rice. Now we're going to top the rice with a little bit more of the ghee. And for that authentic biryani flavor, we're going to mix together 1 tablespoon of kera essence, about 1/8 teaspoon of orange food coloring, or you could use saffron if you wanted. And we're going to add about half a tablespoon of water into that, just to help the color to dissolve. Blend that together. If you wanted, you could even use liquid food coloring. And now let's pour that on the top. And immediately the biryani looks so good. And now let's top it with some more finely chopped mint leaves and the chopped coriander leaves. and some of the fried onions. Wow, just look at that. I've placed the pot of biryani on a griddle pan, and now we're going to cover it and allow it to cook for another 10 minutes, by which time the rice would have got a chance to cook completely. Our biryani is ready and I'm really excited. Oh my goodness, what an aroma in my kitchen. Wow. Biryani is best mixed and then served. So just going to take a little bit and mix it up here. Just a little bit at a time. Oh my goodness. Look at that. And now it's time for us to give the biryani a taste. Wow. Got the aroma that's coming from this. Wow, this biryani is so delicious. You've got to give it a try. So hop onto my website, platingitwithwendy.com, where you will find the full written recipe. Thanks for watching. See you soon.